RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the party. A couple minutes past 9 o'clock here on the West Coast. We should probably try and get a little bit better. Brian's got to get a little bit better at starting this right on time. But what the hell? I think we're doing okay here. Yeah, we got Eddie in the Zoom call with us here today. Hey, buddy. If anything, very impressed with the regular OGs on the TRI site. They're just doing a yeoman's job here. And big shout out to Chris, of course, driving the bus here. Such a handy thing to have in your life, somebody who's so professional and so consistent and reliable and stuff. So thank you very much, Chris. You are a I'm still in the battle stations group. All right. Yeah, I keep forgetting that. Disconnect. All right. Thank you, sir. So there you go. He's already paying dividends as we get going here. Think we got my head on straight. I got a handsome shirt on here today, so hopefully I'm looking relatively presentable. It is Wednesday, TGIW, I guess, hump day. Middle of the week, and actually just about bullseye, middle of August here. We got big options expiry coming up on Friday, and that's a monthly options expiry, so we'll probably have lots of fun and games around that. Julian likes to sort of comment on the Max Payne event that we'll have in his presentation tomorrow. And then, of course, Brian likes to always go, see, look at what they did. They did it again. They did it again, the bastards. So look forward to that. And especially there being a monthly options expiry, we'll probably have a lot of shenanigans around that. As well, too, later on today, in about 2.5 hours, the minutes of the most recent U.S. Federal Reserve Open Market Committee FOMC, cartel, blah, 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 cartel. People who actually are running the country of the United States of America right now, in my opinion. They're going to come out with their comment about what they think the policy for short-term interest rates is. Of course, you know, you've heard me talk endlessly about how they're usually wrong. They're usually late. They usually do too much. And if you don't believe me, go listen to a guy I highly respect in the market, Stanley Druckenmiller. And he's basically made fortunes off of just taking the exact opposite bets of whatever the Fed's doing and then just waiting for the all hell to break loose because of what these banksters do to us. Anyway, it's here nor there. Interestingly enough, I think you can actually make the argument, I don't think enough people really fully appreciate this, that if the US Federal Reserve Board down in the States is actually raising interest rates, then in a weird sort of way, that's actually a good thing. It's a good sign that the economy actually is strong enough to actually warrant increases in interest rates. Obviously, they go too far, they go too long, they do too much, and they end up breaking something. So, you know, I think we're in that kind of phase right now. I think they have gotten in front of this inflation problem. The only issue is they're going to break something, and then when they break, what is it that they actually break, and is that deemed too big to fail? And then we have to go through another one of these massive money printing schemes where everybody's standard of living gets diluted. And we all live a shittier life because, heaven forbid, Joey Diamond has to actually go bankrupt because he's done absolutely horrible business practices. We wouldn't want to let that happen now, would we? So anyway, that's the world we live in. So FOMC minutes later on in a couple hours. And I think the whole market's sort of on pause waiting for that. We did have some econs that came out this morning. Relatively in line, but again, kind of just showing an anecdote that, you know, the economy is actually down the States is actually pretty good. The only issue here, of course, is you can see that stock markets usually, and we've said this repeated, I think I made this a major theme yesterday, where the news that's usually good for Main Street is usually not so good for Wall Street. And then conversely, news that's actually bad for Main Street, everybody's losing their jobs and something's broken. That's usually actually pretty good for Wall Street because then they know the bailouts are coming pretty soon and the interest rate reductions and all that. It is interesting to see one market darling of late, Amazon perking up, but actually Amazon's starting to break back down now. So I don't know whether Amazon's going to be able to hold on to its recent gains. In fact, actually I have it on this chart here, right? No, not that one. This one here, the semiconductors. So there's Amazon. Amazon actually does have a big old fat happy face, smiley face at us right now. And of course, you know what we're all supposed to think if we see the market smiling at us. So just be cognizant of that. That is there. Terrible drawing, but I had the magnet thing on. And keep in mind, this thing gapped higher from like what, 128 all the way up to 139. So basically like $10. This thing could easily slide right back down, fill in that gap. I suppose the star of late, Nvidia, jumped higher there the other day. And it appears to be stalling out here. I think we had made the argument that the big rally did actually confirm the outside upside key reversal off the daily charts. That is there. At the same time, too, the rally took us right into reload short zones and against the original market structure top, and just basically did nothing more than just try and fill in these gaps. And now you can see the market's actually, this original M top short trade actually is back in the money now. So I don't know. You might find, because keep in mind, this rally was all because Morgan Stanley came out and down here said that it was actually a pretty attractive entry on this Nvidia. Not up here, down here. So the damn stock went absolutely crazy over like a day and a half. And now it seems that the euphoria has kind of died out. You can see I was kind of hoping that maybe we get some sort of M top come in here and we, get an outright sell signal again. All we're getting here is just straight up, and heaven forbid, is it just going to be straight back down? It just might be, in this crazy ass market. And I also noticed that stock like AMD, which I think was basically riding on the coattails of the Nvidia euphoria there the other day, AMD actually just puked out and has given back almost all of the gains there from the other day. So not really a sell signal unto itself, but if this candle finishes here, of course, we got those Fed minutes coming out in about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. And of course, if the market doesn't really like what it's hearing, that could turn into a 3-bar fractal. And of course, keep in mind, we do have this outside downside key reversal working here as we speak here on AMD anyway. So none of this bearish structure was broken on AMD here. So this looks a little dangerous. Never really did get any key reversals or any, it's just a big up day and an engulfing bar for candle stick lovers. So that's about it. And if these original Foggenbaums still play out, then you can see where most recent horizontal support and resistance is, and what a surprise that foggy boggy level's right in there. So yeah, that's if I was a bull, I'd be kind of like, oh boy, that's giving me a little bit of a heartburn. So be mindful of that. And then of course the darling sort of the tech land over the past little while, good old Apple, tried to actually carve out like an inverted empire here. You can see yesterday's price action was basically a fail. This now can potentially become a 3-bar failure if we go through that low from yesterday, which was 177.05. And there we go, 176.84 is today low. So that new 3-bar fractal fail just fired here this morning. So no reprieve out of Apple, that's for sure. This does look like a descending wedge. So just be mindful that we might, we'll see what happens. Fed minutes, hell, maybe they come out and they say, well, we're feeling like we're pretty close to being done raising interest rates. Maybe the market rallies smartly. I don't know. Descending wedge here. We probably should come down and play with the bottom of this line right here. And if this can hold and then turn back up, actually, that might actually be bullish because descending wedges are technically bullish. However, we just 3-bar fractaled. You can see where the downside objective is. Just 38.2 off of this range is still all the way down here. To me, this kind of looks like continuation pattern, kind of A, B, C, D. So I'd still be looking for a nice move down into sort of 38.2s and 50%. And actually, we should give a shout out here in this. It's also a public broadcast too. Special shout out to Colin and the Pump Chasers. So, ironically enough, if you are an Apple fan, according to Ray Burchett, but what the hell? Who knows who the hell Ray Burchett is? Let's give a shout out to Colin, one of our site OGs. I think obviously he bought the Kool-Aid, bought the punch, drank the Kool-Aid, well, I don't know how the hell that goes. But anyway, he's a big fan of this 38.2 to 50% retracement. Don't chase, right? And you can use this in crypto. It's the same logic. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. Just wait for Colin's pump chaser zone. And big shout out to Colin. He was on social media this morning touting his wonderful achievements in his life, and congratulations. He's actually, I think he's a father of 3 now. So, man, they're growing quick. But anyway, there's Colin. And people are putting up lots of sort of fun little comments like, hey, there's Eddie. I talk about Eddie in the calls here. So there he is. Pump chaser zone, double level, right? Then I said someone was pumping something to have that outcome. A little bit cheeky of Brian. But I also said, Rolf, way to go, Dad. I'm so proud of Colin. Colin is like, number one, he's the consummate Canadian. He's a perfect Canadian. He's like what you should aspire to be as a citizen of a country. And he's such a good person, too. I had just the immense privilege to have these kind of people in my life. And big shout out to Colin and the Pump Chaser Zone. He just pumped a couple new chasers out into the world. Way to go, Colin. Anyway, sort of total side, but nonetheless, big shout out to Colin. I see nothing but blue sky in front of him. So proud of that guy. All right, back to our story. So I don't see any reason why this Apple shouldn't come down into Pump Chaser Zone. Why? Well, I don't know if you heard me talking about how this crazy Chinese situation is going here. I find it incredible. This is what happens in totalitarian dictatorships, which is just pathetic. But they don't like the news that's coming out, so they're just going to stop reporting the news. Fuck you. Hey, you want to know what the truth is? Suck my dick. That's the truth. You don't like it? There's a prison cell right over there for you. So from what I understand, of course, there's a few people over there in China, right? Right. They've all immigrated to the cities. And now the economies are basically imploding because this is what happens when you have socialists and like commie central planners running economies. It doesn't work. And you end up just creating horrific imbalances because you have to stick to some crazy dictator's plan. And so now you've got just like millions of kids wandering around the countryside. No food, no money, no employment, no jobs, no prospects. And hell, you know what Winnie's doing right now? He's actually flooding huge areas of the country. And who knows how many hundreds of thousands of people are dying because of the floods that he's actually intentionally flooding out huge regions of the country. It's just stunning what the hell this guy's doing. So this whole dream of China becoming this first world nation competitor to the United States, I mean, the whole fucking thing's just collapsing on itself. So it doesn't surprise me that of course, our conjecture about whether China was actually going to spit out some bullish setups here, and the great reopening of China is going to happen. Here's Hong Kong overnight. We've now slipped through this trendline support. this isn't an outright sell signal just yet, but you can see how all the moving averages are starting to roll over here. And if we get any kind of bearish market structure, we're still holding this this bottom level, but you can see this low's been taken out. So now if we're going to do our bot count, we've got one low, we've got two lows. So now we're back to, if this thing really is a bull, it's got to get its butt back above this trend line, put in another low, and away we go, right? And make some sort of W. And then we have the three higher lows to work with. So the fact that we're just melting down here and we just gap lower, and look at momentum. I mean, anybody that works with me and sees this momentum picture, if you're a bull, you know exactly what you need to be doing right now. And until this thing actually starts showing signs of Wing, you all know exactly. It should be interesting. Anyway, there's 20 people watching this video. Does anybody know what I'm thinking? 3 words. Something about a jet fighter. Make it pretty easy for you. Thank you, Nore. Excellent job. German, there's German efficiency for you. Right on the mark. Thank you, Nore. So anyway, point of the matter here is the shit show in China continues. And I think it's actually starting to have like serious detrimental effects to countries, or excuse me, companies that actually made really big bets. Like you've heard the stories out of Foxconn and all that stuff, right? Okay, so what can we tell you about today in the market? As you can see, I'm working. I actually really like this big double top breakdown here on the crude oil this morning. I took a couple stabs at it here this morning. I got flushed out on that EIA report, the bastards. But as you can see, I'm in another short off of this key reversal failure, which was happened to be right off of that shorting level. So I'm just working that, and you can see the whole market's basically red. We had a few econs that came out this morning, as I think I alluded to a few minutes ago. And the problem here is that if we get news that's relatively positive for Main Street, then the market's going to interpret that as, well, the Fed's going to continue raising interest rates, or the Fed's going to, at the very least, they're not going to be lowering interest rates anytime soon. So waking up, what's the news this morning? This is what I like to start my day with. And I always like to just take a look out of the corner of my eye whenever I'm starting my day. What did Japan do overnight? And you can see Japan got absolutely punched in the nose. So my hunch is that probably the United States is going to get punched in the nose as we work our way through today. Europe, kind of a mixed bag, but you can see countries like Italy actually came off a chunk. Yeah, I suppose you got to feel a little bit better for the Brits. The inflation is calming down there. Thank heavens for them. They were dying 1,000 deaths, and I mean it's just incredible to watch the standard of living being destroyed here. Anyway, as you can see, the headline this morning and sort of all this sort of talking heads and stuff, and of course, probably not a big surprise, Brian's reporting it. Everybody's sort of waiting for this Fed minutes data, but the problem here is that we did have some data that actually came out this morning, and I got to say that it didn't come out bearish, so it's awfully tough to make the case that the Fed's going to lower rates. So you can see building permits came in pretty much in line. I mean, a slightly less number than what was expected, but certainly not the correction that the Fed really needs to see to think about lowering rates. I mean, we're just bumping along in a range here now. So you're not getting much weakness out of the housing sector. In fact, things like housing starts actually ticked up here. And there you show month over month, actually a 3.9% increase. Building permits month over month, just slightly better than expected. Interesting how the market was looking for a pretty big increase. So that came in sort of flat. Industrial production year over year came in actually much better than expected. Market was looking for a 7/10 decrease, and it actually came in only a 2/10 decrease. And then month industrial production month over month actually came in much, much stronger than expectations. Now, last month's, and of course, remember this data often is revised. So you see that last month's data was actually revised 3 ticks lower than what the headline print was. So really on balance, this is almost like it's 3 ticks higher than what the market was kind of expecting. So call it a 7/10 increase, but nonetheless, that's still almost like 3 times higher than what the market was kind of looking for. Can the Fed lower interest rates in the face of that? Not likely. Energy stocks, you can see the market was kind of looking for a bit of a drawdown there, and gasoline didn't really come in. So the consumer's not really overwhelming with the demand for gasoline through this summer driving season. Crude oil stocks were expected to show a drawdown. In fact, the API number came out yesterday afternoon. It also showed that there was going to be a pretty big drawdown. But the question you have to ask yourself when it comes to these kind of data releases, was this baked into the price? Because as we showed you here, oh, nice, this is working well. Actually, look at that. I get to move my stop to scratch now. Yay. So at 50% of whatever move I'm looking for in the market, I have a general rule that I just get to move my stop to scratch. And then that way I can talk to you guys without stressing over this open position. So that kind of is a nice little treat. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is was that inventory drawdown built into the market already? A month or two ago, I was kind of moaning and complaining, and I think I told you in a recent public video that in our secret options formula group, David O, resident technician, we had a fantastic meeting last night. And oh, by the way, Zach, our level 3 and 4 instructor for that matter, what a hero. He actually came out with just an absolutely cool trade, hunting for them to panic dump bank stocks this fall. Won't talk about it here today, but a really interesting trade idea that I definitely want to get in on. And it's all about spread trading. But anyway, the point of the matter here is that we had come out of that secret options formula club meeting about a month or so ago going, oh crap, crude oil prices look like they want to ratchet up into the 80s. And guess what we got? There it is. So we did get that rally, bull A, B, C, D, worked our way up into Foggenbombs, and we're just sort of melting back down. And my technical objective here in the short term is just to go eat that tail. Maybe these candle body lows for trade location. You can see 13 EMA, and the trend line is coming up here. I think that's probably where you're going to find some short-term support. And we could probably also big shout out to the new dad, where our call-in pump chaser zone. Actually, probably best to go off of that level there. And you notice 38.2s and 50% levels are going to be right in that window too. In fact, there is 38.2 and 50% of this range is basically my profit objective on that trade. So anyway, it is what it is. It's just working away. Let's see what happens. My hunch is that the whole market, you saw what Japan did. You see the shit show out of China, so that's not helping. The markets right now, I think, is just humming and hawing about how ugly this Fed minutes release is going to be. I think they're basically expecting the Fedsters to say that we are still vigilant on the interest rate fight, and we have to keep steadfast on watching the data, blah 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 blah. All right. Actually, I think that basically summarizes everything that I want to talk to you guys about today. You can kind of see that we just banged into a foggy boggy level. Here we also have candle body lows for trade location. I guess we have a wick and tail. This pretty big tail here probably needs to be eaten a bit. And we have the midpoint of this channel. So I think what's going to happen here is they're going to dump the market into that Fed minutes release, but then that's probably the extent of the selling. Maybe we even have a little bit of a panic tomorrow morning to get everybody that is possibly able to buy put options to go and buy put options and freak out, the sky's falling kind of idea. Because keep in mind that Fed minutes, usually it's sort of interpreted overnight. And then you see sort of the follow up tomorrow morning, big ugly dump into these levels. And then they actually start like usually Friday, the big monthly options expiry day, especially around the quarterly day. Most of the business is actually done on the Thursday, and Friday is actually usually a pretty quiet day, and they actually even rally it back a little bit so that a whole bunch of the panic puts that people bought all expire worthless. So I'm looking for this to continue working a bit lower through later on this afternoon, probably overnight, maybe some more shit out of China kind of stuff. And then the capitulation low tomorrow. And then we start our counter trend rally into the actual options expiry. Finish off this conversation with you guys. From what I understand, Coinbase has been sort of deemed an official futures trader now, I guess, by the CFTC. I don't know if that's even relevant or not to price action. We had this original, and I've even put fun tweets about it in the Broiler Chicken Show. We had a lot of fun about it. If you know what a DFF setup is, great. I'm not going to make direct reference to the guy's name. We all know who he is and what an asshole he is. So, point of the matter here is that it looks like this setup has done everything that we kind of were expecting. Interesting thing from the algo perspective is that we actually got a buy signal down here. So, we're probably going to get a sell signal. The algo hasn't rolled over, which is fascinating. But I wouldn't be surprised if it does, and it just tells us we have to walk away from the trade at scratch. I mean, it happens. It's a trader's life. What I would just simply say is that anybody who did have the balls to take this double top trade, and M's or sell signals unto themselves, and you can see how this works. This is a really good tutorial for everybody. And now everybody can apply Foggenbaum and chaos theory to your thinking. And then just, can you see the confluence of levels? We got trend lines, we got Foggenbaums, we have 88.6s, we've got candle body lows, we've got tails that need to be eaten. Does it make sense that we dump into these lows? And then all of a sudden, mysteriously, like I said, tomorrow you get your dump. This is a 4-hour chart. So that's like over the next, 5 or 6 bars here. Then we sort of stabilize heading into the weekend, and then we start our counter trend rally. That wouldn't surprise me at all, folks. So there's the state of crypto. And if anything, through this period, we started to hear social media influencers and stuff all just absolutely go crazy ape shit. Oh, you better buy your Bitcoins now or you're gonna regret it, and all that kind of shit. So really good lesson for anybody who's watching these videos. When you see all the social media people all starting to go crazy ape shit bullish, that's your message that, whoa, that's not what we want to hear. Slow down. So there's the end result of too much bullish enthusiasm. Full disclosure, you hear me talking about the stock market. I'm not overly impressed with it. The breadth indicator itself is still looking very negative for the stock market. So I'm certainly not calling bottoms here whatsoever. I think we're getting close to some sort of bottom. Country funds are getting washed out. S&P still has a bit further to go to get washed out, but country funds themselves and the currencies, actually currencies not yet, just the country funds. You can see how crypto's trying to play catch up with the whole group. If you see these histograms all below this red line here on both the short and medium term, you definitely know we're near some sort of bottom. So you can kind of see the S&P trying to play catch up because it's not even technically officially oversold yet. It's still very bearish. And unfortunately, the one part of the market that actually is not doing very well here at all, I suppose, anyway, the one part of the market that's not doing very well at all is the Russell 2000. Small cap stocks have not really participated at all of late. It's just been one directional, pain in the butt. So full disclosure, I did take some long stabs on names. Maybe a little amateur on my part. I didn't let the W actually come in. I went and just picked this up at $1.90. I said that if we were going to break this key support low, I would walk away, and I had to, and that's what I did this morning. I walked. I also had another little, this little guy here, same sort of thing. broke key support, and I'm not really here to predict the future. I'm just here to buy W's, and if the bottoms of the W's get broken, I gotta walk away. And that's what I had to do here today as well. Sucks. It's trader's life, but now I'm in capital preservation mode, and that's just got to follow my plan. I'm only as good of a trader for all of you guys is how well does Brian actually follow his plan. So anyway, it is what it is. And hopefully, at the very least of all of this, you all just take away from these video messages that this is the one guy who's not going to blow smoke up my ass. He's not going to bullshit me. He's not going to tout. He's not going to, shill. Did I mention our school term starting in the fall? But at least he's not going to lie to you. And if I have to take a loss in the market, I'm going to tell you, yeah, I had to step up and book a loss. I look like an idiot. That's the way it goes. Try and minimize the risk. Try and define what it is you're going to do in the marketplace ahead of time. And if levels are hit, then you've got to basically man up and act. And that's what I had to do today. All right. I think we'll leave it at that for today. As I said, Fed minutes coming out in about an hour and a half. You might find that the whole market rallies on that. I doubt it. And as you can see, I am short crude right now here over on futures land. So I'm not really in a big hurry to do anything here right now. But over the next couple hours, let's see what happens here with the release of the Fed minutes. And maybe if we're lucky, a big old honking rally pops up out of nowhere. And Julian's got a fun bullish report for you tomorrow. Who knows? If you are interested in crypto, we're going to try and do the crypto show tonight with the good people at Coinigy. It's usually a good hour and a half of me giving tutorial to Joe. Yeah, consider Joe just a typical sort of uninformed investor. And what I like to do is just try and teach him how to build a plan and trade plans and trade setups. So if you can, look forward to that. That starts at 5 o'clock Pacific time, which is, I guess, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. It's the middle of the night for you Europeans. My apologies on that. But if you can, we'd love to see you out for the call this evening. All right. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. All the best, and bye for now.